are you running again?
For the last 8 years, it has been my honor, my privilege actually, to serve the constituents of Freeport. And so, in my first term, there was really a huge transition of changing the culture of City Hall, because it was when we changed from the city manager, I'm sorry, was when we changed from the strong mayor form of government to the city manager form of government. So just trying to work in that direction for people to understand that those day-to-day operations are now under the control of the city manager. And we worked a lot on coming up with capital improvement plans, and looking at our water infrastructure, our road infrastructure, and trying to put them together of what's the most priority and how can we get the most work done. And so the second term has been all about implementing those plans. So we have been very successful in getting lots of water mains done, lots of road work, more than any other administration has done, and it is really to a great team that I have. So couldn't do it without them.
Why are you running, Mr. Atkinson?
I'm running because at the end of the day, I want to be proud of where I live. We moved out here about 4 years ago, and I want to make sure that in 20 or 30 years from now, I'm proud to call Freeport home, that I know that I made the right decision. And to me, the best way to do that is to get involved and step up and do something about it to make sure that that is the outcome we get.
What have you been most proud of contributing to the city over the last 8 years?
I would have to say it's the infrastructure. Everybody complains about how awful the roads are. And so, you can't fix the road unless the underneath is good. And so it took a lot of work to be able to get to where we are today with our water mains. So that means, lead service lines and water mains and storm sewers, all those things play into that piece. So just to be able to actually have a really good plan and moving that forward, we've got great momentum going on that.
What are some of the contributions you feel you could make to the city?
Well, it's, this whole campaign, it's been about leadership. We have some very animated city council meetings here in town. And I think that it's just a disconnect between the mayor's office and the city council as far as getting everybody on the same page. We have a very diverse council, we have a very, very diverse community, and all of that is a good thing. But we need leadership that can literally go from the far west side of town all the way to the east side of town and talk to everybody along the way, hear them, and show some compassion and bring that voice back up to the City Hall. Right now, that just doesn't seem like it's happening. Everybody's kind of on their own page. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of transparency issues that I want to address and kind of correct. At the end of the day, elected officials are here to do what the people are asking them to do. It's not our own agenda that matters, it's what are the people asking us to do.
How would you work to repair Freeport's image to attract businesses and people?
Having to do with crime?
Yes.
I don't think Freeport's any different than any other community in the nation. We have gotten to the place now where we're almost fully staffed with our police department, which makes a huge difference. And we've also got implemented many different types of technology that just serve our officers to be able to be more efficient. And so the shot spotter, the license plate reader, all those things come into play to make their jobs actually more efficient. So those are just a few pieces of how we're getting things done in a quicker manner and really pulling together the community. The chief and I, the police chief and I, we work together with several different agencies to be able to have a more of a community approach to this. And so, that'll be a next goal, is having more community policing strategies.
How would you work to repair Freeport's image to attract businesses and people to the city?
Yep, it's not just about an image. We can't just throw a party downtown every summer and say, oh, look at Freeport, it's fantastic. That's disingenuous. We actually have to address the problem, and that is getting people back to work. It's making sure people can stay in their homes. It's investing back in their neighborhoods. The word pride has come up a lot in this campaign, and a matter of, I feel that the community has lost a lot of pride in this town, and that goes from city property down to homeowners. If you're not proud of where you live, if you don't walk out the door and okay, things are nice, we've got paved streets, we've got sidewalks, we have lighting, We have jobs to go to. We can walk downtown and there's businesses to shop at. The other side has kind of chipped away at that pride, and now people are miserable, and we have to address that head on and come together and say, what do we do to fix this? And that is taking care of city property. It's holding everybody to the same set of standards. We have a rule book. The problem is those rules only apply to some people, and we ignore them from other people. That's no way to lead. That's no way to expect us to grow. We need to kind of, look at the rules, what needs to go, what needs to stay, and hold everybody accountable to the same standard.
What is an issue that you think is one of the biggest issues in the city, and how would you fix that?
Well, I think we're gonna focus more on a few things differently than what we have in the last 4 years, and that would be more of an economic development part of it. When you've got your infrastructure in place, it can be more appeasing to have other companies, industries come in, and so we want to develop more shovel-ready spots, whether it's for industrial, commercial, or residential. We really want to have those shovel-ready spaces in order to make those things happen and increase our economic development portion. We also are really focusing on what does our housing look like within the city. We want to be able to attract young professionals. We want to be able to accommodate those that already live here and they just need better options, more affordable options. So those are all little pieces that we're working on.
What do you think is the biggest issue, and how do you plan to fix that?
Yep, it comes down, it's having the hard conversations. For too long in Freeport, we've kind of ignored the problems that we have. Great, we're paving roads, we're doing some stuff with infrastructure, but we're ignoring all of the other things. It's keeping us from thriving. Our population has decreased every year for the past decade. Our businesses are leaving town. Crime rate has increased. We've got weeks sometimes with 4 gunshots, shootings in a matter of a week. Those things have to be addressed. We can't just kind of turn a blind eye to those problems and expect to do any better as a community. So we need to, I'm hoping to be that person that says, hey, this is what's going on. Let's discuss on how we fix it together as one community, not just behind closed doors conversations.
What is more of a priority to you, building more homes in commercial space or expanding and bettering those that are existing?
I think it's both. We have to make sure that we take care of who we have here. We don't want to lose them. And many of our manufacturers want to expand in their business, but they need the workforce. So how do you attract more workforce? So that's kind of a multifaceted approach.
What is more important to you? What's more of a priority, building more homes in commercial space or expanding and bettering those that are existing?
Both. I think back to what made us move to Freeport, this home here. The architecture in this town, in this community, the history here is amazing. And it is disappearing from all over the country. This is what we were looking for. This is what sold us on Freeport. And then the community, the people as well. But I see day after day, it looks like the current administration, they are dead set on tearing it all down. Getting rid of it all, and so that a few key players can come in and put up new condos and whatever it may be, but we haven't looked at how do we protect what we have. And a decade, 2 decades of not protecting what we have, now we're forced to see whole neighborhoods disappear, which then comes back to, it goes full circle with property taxes. If you tear down 10% of your homes in a matter of a couple years, those property taxes have to be paid somewhere, so that just increases everybody else's because we didn't bother to protect what we had. And now we're going to have to wait for an investor to come in and rebuild, and that's much harder than I think she thinks it is.
What is your vision for the future of the city?
Well, it's always been the same, and that is increasing the quality of life for our constituents. So whether that's a better neighborhood, better housing, more shopping, more restaurants, any of those types of things actually make it better for our constituents, and they want to stay.
What do you see as your vision for the city's future, should you be elected?
Yeah, it's an involved community. It's where when we look at any housing commission, a planning commission, that it represents the community. It's not just the same old the same old people that are deciding everything for this town. It's bringing every walks of life, every generation, every bank account size, every demographic to the table to have that voice. Right now, it's almost, we have a lot of different organizations in town that do amazing things, but it's almost as if they're all competing with each other. I want to be that mayor that brings the community together to say, how do we work together to accomplish something? And because when we work together, everything we want to do, we can succeed at. Right now, it's everybody just kind of sits back, and this is the way it's always been. This is the way it's always going to be. And I'm hoping to be that voice over the past year that has told the people that this isn't normal. That we don't have to be like this. We can do better.
How do you plan to protect marginalized communities in the area?
More what?
Marginalized communities.
What do you mean?
Those, in underserved communities, those who are feeling unprotected.
We are always working on trying to find grants that help in all those things, and that's one of the good things about these grants that are available is what's your underserved area, and so our third and fifth and some of our seventh wards kind of fit that demographic, and so anything we can do, whether it's housing repairs, which we're applying for a $1.2 million grant on that, whether it's road constructions, we're always looking for things there. So we acknowledge that there is more needs in some parts of our neighborhoods than others, and so we really do want to make sure that they're not just seen, but they're heard.
How would you work to protect marginalized communities?
Yep, it's making sure that they are there at the table with us. It's being active in the community, going to the churches, going to the organizations, going to their community events. That's what a mayor, in my opinion, should be doing. How are you going to represent anybody if you don't know what they're worrying about at the kitchen table every night? You have to be involved. We are fortunate right now. We have a mayor system and a city manager system. City manager, his job is to keep the lights on, the water flowing, and the streets paved. Let him do that. Hold him accountable to it. The mayor should be among the people learning the things that are important to them, bringing that back to council, and changing our ordinances, putting things in place to make sure that stuff is taken care of. Making sure that every neighborhood, that no neighborhood is kind of left behind. That's the mayor's responsibility, to make sure that everybody is represented fairly.
What is your final pitch to voters on why they should vote for you?
Well, I really believe that we've got a lot of really good things going in the community. And so I just want to see that momentum continue. And so I think I have a proven track record. And so I would hope that people have seen that by now and that they will cast their vote next Tuesday and check the little mark that says Jody Miller.
What's your final pitch to voters on why they should vote for you?
Follow your heart. At the end of the day, if you're sitting at home and you are happy with what you see after 8 years under the Miller leadership, then you go down and you vote for her. If there's a part of you that thinks that Freeport could do just a little bit better, that more people could be represented, that we could work a little bit better together, then you vote for the other guy. Who do you want fighting for you at the end of the day? And especially with the national climate, with politics right now, who do you want in your corner? Do you want myself or do you want Mayor Miller? And I think we've both shown who we are and what we're willing to do for the community.